Hello and welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Robert Tan. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey. Today on Follow the Money, the political earthquake that's shaking investors' confidence. The impeachment of Vice President Sara Duterte has sent shockwaves through the country's political and business landscape. And joining us is the immediate past national president of the Philippine Young Entrepreneur Association, Ms. Charmaine Co. Welcome to Follow the Money, Charmaine.
Hello, good afternoon.
Okay, before we start, Charmaine, can you give us a little bit of a background of what the Philippine Young Entrepreneurs Association is all about and what do you do?
Yes, so PYEA is also the Philippine Young Entrepreneurs Association of the Philippines. We formally were founded in 2015 as the official representative of young entrepreneurs in the ASEAN Young Entrepreneurs Association and in the council. So we actually are aiding early stage entrepreneurs in their early stage entrepreneurship journey and making them better business owner, better leaders in their communities and in their areas.
Ah, that's great.
Yes.
So now I'm sure your organization is really watching what's happening right now with the impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte. What are your thoughts on this right now?
You know, our association really values the same principles of integrity and accountability. So we believe that the related departments in the government that are managing the situation, we believe that they will uphold it to the best of their standard and ability.
Now with this, how do you think this will affect the business climate in the Philippines? And do you believe it will have negative effects of what's happening right now in the economic landscape, the business landscape here?
Well, definitely there's been talks and there's always been some investors are also quite conservative right now because of the landscape here in the Philippines. But you know, with every there will always be opportunities that are available.
Now, you mentioned that your organization is basically young entrepreneurs, the MSMEs. Now, how do you think it's affecting right now the small businesses of what's happening locally here in the Philippines?
Well, I guess more on like issues similar to the wage hike that's been happening. There's been a lot of talks and discussions among us young entrepreneurs, especially because we are the ones most affected with sensitivities and price increase, especially wage, since a lot of early stage entrepreneurs, especially in the service industry, tourism, for example, hospitality, agriculture, and in the transport sector, they are directly affected by these. And given that early stage entrepreneurs, you're seeing at least 45% of these entrepreneurs will not last 5 years to like reach their maturity, and a lot of them will close. So this is a really pressing issue that we hope that can be resolved quickly, and that there will be a lot of consultations that have been done that will help prepare us entrepreneurs as well to not be so sudden in the impact that it will have against our businesses.
Now, going back to the impeachment process, now, do you personally have a stance, or does the organization have a stance regarding what is happening with the Senate and Congress with the impeachment complaint that is happening right now?
We believe that we really uphold the same values, so we think the parties involved will really come to a conclusion that will be beneficial for us business owners and in the business landscape.
Now, how do you think the government should balance political accountability while maintaining economic stastability during this time?
Oh yes, that is quite a challenge there, as you can tell. So I think we've been engaged by the government in a lot of private-public consultation. I think that's one. Second is there's been a lot of awareness campaigns, so that helps prepare us. And even in our own association, we do try to create more engagement where we train our entrepreneurs how to mitigate these risks and challenges in operating their business. Of course, we also want to maintain a balanced environment for our entrepreneurs, and as an entrepreneur, it's really a balanced lifestyle for them.
Well, in your opinion, how are the local businesses, the small businesses, reacting to this political development? And have you noticed any immediate concerns for the changes in business sentiment?
I think it's been kind of like a lot of people are quite hesitant to explore new businesses, also because the midterm elections just ended. So a lot of people are also re-strategizing and also trying to understand where the current government is trying to push for economic development and recovery.
On the other spectrum, what do you think the role of media coverage plays in shaping public and investor perceptions of the impeachment issue that's happening right now?
Well, I think they're doing a really good job. Awareness is really key, I think, to understanding what the next strategy or what the next steps entrepreneurs should take.
Now, what would be your advice to the local businesses as well as those foreign investors looking in at what's happening here about if they're concerned about any political risks of putting up a business here in the Philippines right now, right at this moment?
Right. Well, there will always be any risk in any country, right? But what's key here is to really look for strong and credible partners that you can work with. With the Philippine young entrepreneurs, that's something that we really, this is really one of our foundation. It's the trust that we can uphold, the trust that we can portray to the business community as soon-to-be leaders of this country and business communities. Yeah.
Great. Now, Charmaine, we still have a lot to discuss, but we're just getting started. Follow the Money returns after a short break. Welcome back to Follow the Money. We're talking about the business aftershocks of the trajectory taken by VP Sara Duterte's impeachment trial. And with us is Ms. Charmaine Co of the Philippine Young Entrepreneurs Association. Welcome back, Charmaine. We were talking about the impeachment trial that's going on, whether it's going to push through or not. But how important is it to the young entrepreneurs, mainly your organization, accountability in government?
Right. Well, it's everything, for us entrepreneurs. Accountability also matters a lot as a business owner, because when we manage our teams, they also expect us to be accountable to them. Like, we make sure they have good working conditions. We make sure that they are well compensated to the best of our ability. And if there are any shortcoming, we have to just be transparent to them. So similar with our government, we also expect the same, that there's that trust that can be built on bilaterally. So we say we'll do something, we do it, and there's a follow through.
Now, besides accountability and all that, what else when you talk to your young entrepreneurs, what are they looking for in terms of the government leading the economic stability of the country for them to actually grow as well? In line with this, let's say talk about infrastructure, developments, partnerships with other countries and all that.
Right. So, of course, infrastructure is always a big thing, especially since the Philippines, a lot of our MSMEs are really in retail and wholesale. We have tourism and hospitality driving these sectors. So infrastructure is a big thing. If it's hard to get around, it's already hard for them to reach one point to another. Of course, cost of living is another thing. That's the challenge with the wage hike too. When we increase wages, that also increases the pass on that entrepreneurs will eventually pass on to their customers. So it makes us wonder, like, how can we really match this, that it's a gradual transition. I know we all want to have better working conditions for employees, and that will in exchange make them more effective as partners in our business. We treat our employees as our partners.
Now, more on the 200 peso wage hike. So what you're saying, your organization, are you for it or against it?
I think there's a gradual way to do it. I think it being immediate, and if it's immediate, it's kind of hard because a lot of people it'll be hard on the transition for business owners. Again, there are ways for the government to mitigate these sudden changes. A part can be doing it in a gradual method. Another way can be giving incentives to certain industries and sectors that are mostly affected by it. And for the across the board, I think that's one of the biggest challenges, because how can you be competitive if it's like across the board, and it might not benefit a certain location, a certain area.
How much of an effect do you think the 200 peso wage hike will be on the smaller businesses? And also, how do we strike a balance on giving the right pay to your employers, of course, but of course that's going to have some impact on the overhead of the business. But how do you balance that in treating your employers well as also trying to grow your business at the same time?
Right. So again, entrepreneurs are pretty quick. They have to manage these challenges as fast as possible, right? Should the government really pass it, then that's just a challenge that we have to overcome. And as I mentioned earlier, if there are ways that the government can also make it easier for business owners, such as giving incentives, giving tax breaks for certain sectors and industries, that would be good. For entrepreneurs, the challenge there is, will I retain the same number of employees or should I trim down? How can I upskill them so I can maybe put them in a different department where they're more effective? I hope that there's ways that we can.
Isn't there
help
enough
them.
help being given to the smaller entrepreneurs? Like there's the Create Law and also the Barangay MSMEs. Is that enough to mitigate, let's say, if the 200 peso wage hike is actually approved?
It's still quite challenging because even there are these initiatives by the government, there's still a lack of awareness. I think a lot of companies are still striving to be compliant. And then, of course, like cost of getting quality advice or services are still challenging. But, I think a lot of entrepreneurs who provide these business development support have find like interesting ways to price it so that it's more friendlier to entrepreneurs. So they do it on a freemium basis, like free muna, and then you pay as you go, or like there are packages that makes it affordable for getting.
Now, do you think the wage
advice.
issues right now should be better addressed by the Regional Tripartite Wage and Productivity Board?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Right now, the wage hike has been passed in Congress, so they're just waiting. But then, do you think, on the other hand, should it be the Regional Tripartite Wage and Productivity Board should be the one actually looking into this?
I think it will always be beneficial for them to understand what are the implications and how it will affect the economy in the short term and in the long term.
Because a lot of businesses are saying, again, like you mentioned, if there is a wage hike, it could cause some businesses to either close down because they can't take that hike. But then, what else do you think besides this should the government do to help in other aspects so that if there is that wage hike again, what can they do to help the smaller businesses, the MSMEs, to with this shock of increasing the wages, and they can also continually grow? Because we mentioned there's also that Barangay MSME thing to create. Is that enough? What else are your entrepreneurs looking at? The younger generation of entrepreneurs, what are they seeing right now that they need in terms of help from the government?
I think that's always been a discussion point, the friendliness of doing business in the Philippines, right? So, well, infrastructure, as you mentioned, can help, like being digitally connected so that we have access to digital resources is always key. Of course, if we can have better incentives for investors and entrepreneurs alike, that will also help us withstand these turbulences in businesses. More collaboration between policymakers and the actual beneficiaries, that would always be quite helpful. And we are always willing to share some of our firsthand experiences in these matters.
Now, going back again to the wage hike, how do you think it will affect inflation and small businesses here in the country?
Oh, definitely that will impact inflation quite a bit. Yeah, unfortunately, that's such a big increase. We're I think in our that's like a 4,000 peso increase for a minimum wage earner. And for like, if you're talking about like micro entrepreneurs like Sari Sari Store, that's like 12,000 a month for 3 employees. Yeah.
But you have government agencies like the Department of Trade and Industry that do help a lot of smaller entrepreneurs. They have, I think, over probably 200 entrepreneurs under their wing. Does your organization also communicate with DTI in terms of how can they help also the other entrepreneurs, the younger generation, into helping building the nation of entrepreneurs here? And you were mentioning about going digital. Is that something that's really helping the smaller entrepreneurs right now, going digital?
Oh, for sure, because actually even our Young Entrepreneurs Association, we're adapting digital organization because one is it helps you manage your cost and your cost better, you know, and it's a strong data point of how your business operates. And I think that also comes with infrastructure, right? If we're all connected, then that's how we can help each other. We do work closely with DTI, so the PYEA has been there from the beginning of the launch of DTI's Young Entrepreneurship Program that was launched in 2018, I think 2019. Yeah.
Are there other agencies other than the DTI that helps the smaller entrepreneurs, your organizations, into looking at what other solutions could be done in terms of helping the small businesses here in the country?
Right. So we work closely with the Philippine Chamber of Commerce because PYEA leads the youth initiative of the Chamber. We also work with other nationwide associations. So we work with Go Negosyo, with the ICT, DOST, and SEC right now because we have been participating in their capital market formation campaigns.
Now, with these communications, you're mentioning the SEC, the TTI also, and NED, and the government is also trying to help ease the doing business here in the Philippines. Is your organization also in communication with these agencies, and as you talk to your young entrepreneurs, the younger generation, on how you can help, what solutions do we need so that the ease of doing business is really from the start to the finish, not just a particular part of the spectrum?
So when it comes to incorporation, I think we just need to work closely with our either DTI or SEC to help them incorporate and them to understand that even SEC has the online registration for businesses. So that's one thing. When it comes to continuing your business processes, like renewing your permits, we do have like partners in our association that can help. So these are accounting firms or like services that can help you do those. And then when it comes to attracting investors and managing the business, we do have partners as well. So we're really trying to create that vibrant ecosystem of young entrepreneurs that supports each other.
Now, do you see the business landscape changing, and do you see more and more younger people going into putting up businesses? Because during our time, it's very hard. It's when you're employed, right? You're thinking of your monthly pay, but there's a risk into doing business.
Of course.
So what kind of education or do you teach your young entrepreneurs so that they can mitigate this risk and they're not too scared of putting up a business? Because I'm seeing a lot of younger people now putting up small, but then after a year, sometimes they grow really big.
Oh, definitely. So I think the first step is always understanding their motivation of getting into business. Like we always tell them to cut the chase and admit the fact that not everyone's meant to be an entrepreneur, and the earlier they know that, the better. Because some people, they may need to pursue a professional career first to understand the industry better before they pursue entrepreneurship. And studies do show that entrepreneurs with professional backgrounds are more likely to succeed, and they're more likely to lead other employees and partners better.
And finally, quick advice to those who want to start a business but don't really know yet, but they want to. but sometimes they're scared to do it because of the risks and also with what's happening in the business and economic and political landscape here in the Philippines. What would be your advice to them right now?
I always say take account of what your strengths are, what your resources are. So this can be financial resources, your knowledge, who are your partners, what area are you operating in. So take note of what these are. And then there's so many organizations and even the government, DTI provides a lot of support, and the Go Negosyo provides a lot of mentoring. So it's really out there. It's more of them just going out of their comfort zone and talking to someone and validating their ideas and just trying to do it.
Okay, on that note, thank you very much for joining us, Charmaine. A lot of insights, a lot of help, especially those watching us right now who want to start a business but are scared of the risk. But then with all the support from your organization, maybe we'll build a bigger industry here in the Philippines with the younger generation. And today's headlines are influencing hiring decisions, supply chain movements, and investor timelines. Thank you for your insights, Ms. Charmaine Co. Thank you for joining us here on Follow the Money. And in a departure from the usual, our quote of the day is from Bilyonaryo News Channel's Business 360, Makati Business Club Executive Director Apong Pin, relaying the MBC's stand on the impeachment trial.
Affects our ability to attract investment, both local and foreign, if we cannot demonstrate that we have a strong rule of law and public accountability.
And that's it for today's edition of Follow the Money. I'm Robert San. Thanks for watching. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.